have a big surprise. May or may not. We're not sure. We'll be as surprised as you are. Show starts right now. CHGO Bears. Welcome into the CHGO Bears Podcast, where I am thoroughly confused on what day it is. We had Memorial Day, then I thought today was Friday, which makes no sense because, I don't know. We're here, though. That's what matters. And we're going to talk about what matters at Bears OTAs. That's what we're going to discuss today. Adam Hoge, Mark Carman, Greg Braggs Jr. with you, and our producer, Steven, is extremely excited about what we call in the biz the lower third. You may notice watching on YouTube, and you should be subscribed and hit the like button. Hit the like button for the lower third. It is brand new. It looks glorious.
Yeah.
Steven's going to have some fun. Look at this. Oh, whoa.
Wow.
What do we call that logo? The
Nux.
Nux.
The what?
Nux, like knuckles.
It's a finger.
You're a finger.
How is that knuckles? That's clearly, it's like the foam finger.
See,
Guess what are on fingers?
Right now,
Knuckles.
What we're dealing with today is angry, irritated Hoge, and
I think I've been the exact opposite.
Why? Because you don't know how
morning.
to close a computer.
Dude just yelled at me to close his
you
computer. Now he's mad
listening.
Literally had 17 things going on. It's 4 minutes before the show. Hoge couldn't close his own computer. Now you're mad at Knuckles, and you don't know what day it is. This is angry Hoge. I think you should lean into it. I think
no. There are days when I lean into irritated, angry Hoge. I'm great Hoge today.
You're great Hoge.
I'm great Hoge.
He's great Hoge.
I'm the irritated one today.
You're not irritated. You are
depressed. That's the word.
Greg was working on a guest that may or may not still show up. We're not sure.
Not coming. Big guest though, if he does come.
No, let's not say that. Wait.
He's coming. He's on his way.
I hope so.
I am not very confident he's going to be on this show. I'm still somewhat confident he'll be on a future show. Yeah. That's fine.
It's fine.
That's what matters.
Okay.
In the meantime, we got plenty of content to still bring you today. We told you on yesterday's show we had a lot left over to get to. Carm's been cutting audio like it's 2008, and he's working at WGN Radio. So I'm excited for that.
I love cutting audio.
Actually, that's not true, because if it was 2008 and you were working at WGN Radio, I would have been cutting the audio. And I didn't cut any of the audio.
Most likely true, although there is only one person on this show that likes, Steven's, he's upper level. He likes to cut video. I like to go audio because
you can do it.
Because I know how to do it. Right. I know how to use Adobe Audition. It's one of my great talents in life. I'm still holding on to it. I'll learn the video thing at some point. But there was a lot going on here from Caleb and from Keenan and from Ben Johnson. Montez Sweat, I don't think wowed anybody with his content yesterday, but we did hear from him, and it was great that he was at OTAs on a non-mandatory as a guy looking to have a bounce-back year. I appreciate that.
Should we start with that topic?
Which part?
Well, because I think it's fair and it's conflicting, and I know our producer Steven is really concerned about who's at OTAs and who's not, how much it matters, and that's the theme of the show, what matters from OTAs, and I'll just give my official stance I always give on this, which is the reporter in me understands why these guys aren't always there. It is not mandatory. They have a choice. I think every individual situation is different. And if they want to exercise their rights that they're afforded with their contract in the NFLPA, then they are free to do whatever they want. The coach and me, get your ass to work. This is your full-time job. You should be there, help your team. I literally I am able to separate both of those and understand both sides. But if I'm a coach, I want Jaylon Johnson at practice.
Yeah, especially when it's the first-year head coach, first-year defensive coordinator, and if you want to be a leader of the team, who's going to be the captains? I get it. They have families. They get very little time off. But at the same time, that's why you get paid the big bucks. And so that's the meatball in me, but I can also see the other side.
4 months off.
Yeah.
I'd love 4 months off.
Listen, if I was Jaylon Johnson, I was hanging out in California and getting myself ready for the season and eating kale and lifting weights every single day and felt like I had my footwork down and I was just in Chicago, would I take the liberty to not come to OTAs this week when it's mandatory next week and I'm going to be there for 3 days? He's probably the one guy on the entire team in my mind that's actually earned not being there. Other than that, everybody needs to be there in my mind. Jaylon not being there doesn't bug me.
But that's none of it bugs me personally because I am not a coach of the Bears. But I understand if I was a coach of the Bears, that I'd be like, come on, man, we got a Super Bowl we're trying to win.
But you're a podcaster of the Bears, and the Bears winning would be good for your podcast. And
well, that's true, but that's fine,
well.
Right? To your point, though, it's a case-by-case basis. At the end of the day, it's not mandatory. We always have this. I've literally had this conversation every single year I've covered this team. And some years, I feel like guys have not shown up, and it's mattered. Other years, guys have not shown up, and it hasn't mattered. Other years, the attendance has been perfect, and they've won 4 games. It's never necessarily correlated to anything significant where I can sit here as the podcaster and be like, this is complete BS that these guys aren't here. Yeah. But I also understand it if I'm the guy who's getting paid and my job, there's a lot of pressure being a coach in this league, and I'm trying to win. And we already heard from Ben Johnson yesterday. I thought it was very interesting, actually. He's like, I can already see guys separating themselves just based on what they're doing outside the building watching film. He said that I can already see separation on the roster. Yeah. So for the guys that aren't there, they're going to be a little bit behind. But if you're Jaylon Johnson and you've been here and you know how this works and you're one of the best corners in the league, can you catch up easier than if you're the 78th guy on the roster missing a day? Absolutely you can. So it's probably not the end of the world.
There's no end of the world's going on here. However, let me just make this minor point, and I see you chomping at the bit here, Gregory. But one of the things that
he had a resting Hoge face times 12 right there.
One of the things that has happened around here.
I'm pissed off.
One of the
I know he's not thinking about this.
I'm afraid of you. Don't worry. Don't worry. I'm very afraid. But one of the things
about this.
One of the things that has happened around here is with the Bears and maybe even some other Chicago sports teams is there's been like this sort of celebration that we competed. We gave it our all. They battled. That doesn't need to be said or rewarded. That's the bare minimum. We didn't quit. Sweet. Like that does nothing for anyone, and that sucks. Montez Sweat, to this particular corner, he should be here. He did not have a good year last year. Now, part of that was because he's hurt, but I would like to think that he would want to get his body back moving and get back in shape and get back on the field, and that's exactly what he did, which was good on Sweat. And everybody else, who's trying to find their way with a new head coach, their way in the NFL, the Bears don't exactly have a ton of Hall of Famers who've been walking around that are well established, so they should be here. Jaylon, again, whatever. Gary's putting the things.
I'm actually forgetting right now. Was he there last week?
He was.
Yeah. See, so I don't want this to even become a Jaylon Johnson conversation.
It's not.
It shouldn't be. And the guy was there at the beginning of April when and he showed up on the podium that one day and he was like, "You guys surprised to see me?"
Right. Because
so he's been here. It's not a Jaylon Johnson conversation. It's more just in general. What if this matters? Again, it comes back to who you are and who you're not. But I would point out, Mark Carman moved yesterday, and he was at practice
and at dinner, and Lord knows what the payment on that one's going to be. Whoops, I didn't know that
Carman's in
upper management.
Carman's in deep trouble right now.
Going to be doing a lot of gardening for you, for you garden hoser. I see you, garden hoser. You'll get a proper diehard later in the show.
His name is Gardenier.
But Gregory, what's percolating over there? I'm interested as to what's moving around to you, other than our missing.
I mean, it's if I say what I'm gonna say, it just gets misconstrued on me hating on the players. They can miss whatever they want as long as Ben Johnson doesn't care. Then I don't really care.
Ben cares.
I have a different level of what my expectation for work ethic is, and I'm not this is where it gets misconstrued, and I'm not going to listen to it from fans talking about. I'm not calling out work ethic. I have a personal standard for work ethic, so I'm going to show up every day that I possibly can. If I have knee surgery, 2 days later, I'm going to be at work. If I have a construction crew in my backyard right now working on things, I'm going to be at work. If I have to show up with a broken leg and like you could say, oh, well, I'm going to be there. And so I'm always going to make sure that I work as hard as I possibly can. If somebody else doesn't want to do that, they don't have to hold to the same standard that I do. But that's how I hold myself to account. And that's just something I live by. It's something I take a lot of pride in. Again, not calling anyone else out on the team. It's just how I live by it. And I would always want to make an impression. And if I look at myself as a leader on the team, I'm going to be the guy setting the tone every single time. There will not be somebody that outworks me. That's who I am in life. Not on a football field, obviously.
Who would you say then? Because you kind of just sort of put yourself on the Bears, which is cool. I think you should be a Bear. But
I'm putting myself on a job site. I'm putting myself in this room. You're not going to outwork me.
I got it. Quick, who do you think on the Bears is you? Who's the most similar guy to what you just talked about on the Bears right now? Who's your best Bear worker?
Not Jack Sanborn anymore.
Don't say Tyson Bagent.
You can. But who would you say? Who do you think embodies that standard that you're talking about on the Bears right now?
Ben Johnson. In all seriousness, I don't know.
Am I gonna say like do I sound like a bootlicker for saying Cole?
No.
Just because he works
Stop worrying about what.
I'm not worried about, but I'm just saying I'm not worried about them.
Cole is a good answer
in general.
Cole is a good answer, dude. Who else?
While you're thinking about that, I'm gonna tell a quick
Eric
story.
Buchanan says Joe Tooney.
That's a good.
I don't know. It's his first year here, but I'm assuming.
Backing Greg up, this is a true story. The last day of the Super Bowl this year when we were in New Orleans, I woke up with a 103-degree fever and literally felt like death. And I texted these guys telling them what's going on, and he called me a word that I cannot repeat on the show for. Basically making me do the show so I may have gotten all of Radio Row sick that Friday, but I did show up to the show because of what Greg called me that morning.
Well, and another thing, the reason why Hoge
that's 100% true story.
The reason why Hoge was sick and then why I got sick was because this guy was sick, came to work because he wouldn't take off and got us sick.
Yeah,
most 96% likely.
So then I had influenza A and got what's his face from the Dan Patrick show. And Fritzy was on my flight. I got him sick on the way home, and then I went on a cruise ship 3 days later with influenza A.
And then I was calling up
that
Braggs.
Was all fun.
I was calling up Braggs to get to Jenny, his amazing wife, who's a nurse, because I caught it on the way back on the flight later that day, and I was like, should I go on whatever they? It was a whole thing.
But the point is, did any of us miss work?
I think I might have missed today.
I think you might have. Wait, no. I was on vacation.
I don't think I did. I don't think I did.
I got it. Braggs is Grady Jarrett. Electric behind the mic. Tore his ACL.
Mm-hmm.
Came back, had a really good year.
Mm-hmm.
And just a vibrant personality.
Is he a great golfer too?
I don't know.
Then the similarities would be
just
all across the board.
But that's the whole point, by the way, or one of the points that's been going on right now is that they drafted Colston Loveland because he's a culture changer. The Bears were called out of calling out themselves last year that things weren't called out. Ben Johnson is here. So in relation to the OTA conversation that we had to start the show, and we'll get some Ben Johnson and Caleb coming up next year. It does.
I know somebody else who didn't show up to work today.
It does land as an important thing. Who are we talking about?
You know what I'm talking about. Not an employee here.
The guest that I'm going to cry about.
It's all right.
Forever.
All right, we will have more sound from, actually, Carm cut all the sound. So I think we got Case Keenum. We got Ben Johnson.
Yes, it's in Notion, Adam, where you like to point to. You love that. You love that. I just got the.
Well, the reason why I don't have that open at Notion is because I have something else open at Notion called the ad read I'm about to do.
Yes, Caleb is next, and then Ben. Caleb and Ben in the next time, and then Case Keenum.
Yes.
Brilliantly cut and exquisitely outlined by yours truly.
Outlined?
I put it in the outline.
Oh, this is actually a good.
This is what you do every day. I feel
like we're doing a radio show today.
I'm feeling good about.
We're doing a radio show, but with a glorious new lower third. I love it. It looks great. We're gonna have more fun coming up next. But first, summer will possibly be here by tomorrow. I've been reading this for 2 months, and it's. I think we're jinxing it. I think is what's going on. But yeah, eventually, you're going to have an air conditioning problem is basically the deal. Hopefully not. You won't if you call Four Seasons, because Four Seasons is going to take care of you. Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. They've been serving Chicagoland for over 50 years. You know that. You see their trucks everywhere as you're driving around this glorious stuck in Spring City. Now is the time to get your AC checked out. Four Seasons, their experts are ready to help you with AC installation, maintenance, and repair. When it's hot and humid, you want your home to be cool and comfortable, of course. You don't want to be stuck, so schedule your Four Seasons AC tune-up today. Save $50 on that tune-up, and you're going to enjoy a 1-year no-breakdown guarantee. And if you unfortunately need to get new AC, well, check this out because I got a great deal. Save up to $4,000 on new comfort systems with Four Seasons. The new AC units from just $39 a month, or you can go AC furnace combo. That's what I had to do a couple years ago. $57 a month. Your trusted local experts are Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. Visit fourseasonsheatingcooling.com for all their special offers and money-saving coupons. That's fourseasonsheatingcooling.com.
We might have like a setup formation here that could allow a special guest to appear on the show at some point today. Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake is kicking off their summertime with a big Memorial Day savings. This is all month long. And yeah, you should come in today. It's still going. The Memorial Day sales event. Drive home with 0% financing or 60 months off on a new select Chevy model. 125 vehicles priced under $20,000. One of the largest Chevy inventories you can ever find. You will find the perfect vehicle for you. Just go in and say, I want the Chevy Trax a la Carm. You'll be so happy. You'll be flying around. Just feeling like $1 million. That's what they do for you. They got the Ray Price Promise. It's going to let you shop confidently. No add-ons, no hidden fees, no gimmicks ever. The price you see is the price you pay. Don't worry about any of that. Visit our partner at their convenient location on Route 12 in Fox Lake. And don't miss out on the Memorial Day sales event going on all month long for 0% financing on select new Chevy models. Shop Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake or raychevrolet.com. They've been serving the community since
1973.
63. Together, let's drive. 63, man. The Bears won the NFL title. My guy, Ed Obradovich, was running around. 73 is when I was born, if you must. That
I'm just pissed.
It feels
off.
the opposite.
I'm
all right.
so disappointed right now.
Oh, come on.
You need like a Ben Johnson.
You know,
I want to blow my whistle right now and say, huddle up.
No.
There's nothing more frustrating for me. We saw this in the Super Bowl.
You need another Brandon Spanos speech right now?
Dude,
because we can bring him in here and do this.
Yes.
You need that.
Dude. Are you listening to the Bears? I'm going to get mad at you right now.
There's nothing more frustrating for me when I spend 2 days getting this set up, so excited, and then it doesn't happen. There's nothing that upsets me.
Well, next play mentality.
Listen, Ben Johnson, it came out. Albert Breer had the report. They talked about it yesterday. When you get sacked, how long does it take you to get back up?
Yeah.
He's expecting to immediately get back up. Your body language is terrible right now. Your attitude sucks, and you need to step. Who cares if the guest isn't here? You know who's the biggest guest on this show? Me. And then after that,
you are the greatest guest we've had. Yeah. You've never left.
You don't listen.
I know that's normally the guest leaves.
Let me give you a radio lesson for you. One time I had to produce a Gary Myers show, and this guy was like, I said, well, who do you want to guest? And he looked at me cross-eyed. He's like, I'm the guest. You're the guest, dude. You. We don't need no guest. You are the most entertaining person here.
That sounds like something he'd say.
I thought it was good.
Yeah.
Guest.
All right.
I'm the guest.
Well, we have. Speaking of, You got the order here?
Yeah, I got it.
I know you did do a good job with this little cut list, but I don't know which direction you want to go.
Okay, well, so here, it was an awesome day as far as press conferences. We outlined it yesterday at House Hall, and so there was so much. We wanted to bring some stuff back for you. So Hoge wanted to talk about this one, and it's Caleb Williams was asked at the back end of the press conference about his footwork, and Ben is flipping him up. So
I don't think 0 for 1.
I don't think you sent that one to me.
You don't have that clip?
This is my
You
favorite
didn't send
show.
that clip.
This is my favorite show.
You will have that clip in 5 seconds.
No, that's not how it works. All right, let's do this.
Do the second one. Do Ben Johnson on the.
So there was a moment yesterday
why
where
is he looking at me like that? That's unbelievable.
where Ben Johnson had
That's a
to
loaf.
blow the whistle, yell at these guys, F that, huddle up. And it was as a result of Caleb just being a little bit slow in the huddle, getting the play call out. This is all new. It's sort of understandable, but Ben Johnson's not having it, though. And it made me think, because we talked about this at some point, that we thought Ben Johnson's play calls were shorter than what Caleb was dealing with last year, but that one seemed like it was a little bit wordier. So I asked Ben Johnson yesterday about that. Are your play calls shorter, longer? This was the answer.
Ben, on that topic, would you say your play calls are on the shorter end or longer end?
Depends. Depends on what we're trying to get done. I would have said 3 years ago, shorter end, and then things have gotten a little bit more complex. And now that we're back to building it from square one again, it's a blend of probably when I first started play calling to where I ended last year. And we're trying to find that right mix. We're also trying to challenge these guys and see how much we can handle too. Every position group on offense, we're trying to see how much they can download and what they can apply. And we'll revisit that as a staff at the end of OTAs and decide what the best course of action for us going forward into the season is going to look like. And training camp might be a little bit different because of that.
So that answer made 1,000% sense to me.
Agreed.
So when he started as an OC with the Lions, the natural thing to do is to start simpler. And then as you realize, these guys can handle this. We can add this. We can add this. I'll give you a quick example. Because even in special teams, like when I first started with our kickoffs were literally like left or right. Okay. And then by the time we got through last season, like we got some colors in there that mean something. We got different motions and things that you put in there because you realize what they can and cannot handle. And that even applies to special teams, let alone a complex offense. So it sounds like they're experimenting with that stuff right now, and he's trying to figure out what he can bring over from his language that Caleb can handle, most importantly. But not only that, the other receivers out, everyone's got to understand which part of the play call is the protection, which part of the play call is the route that needs to be run, the cadence and all this stuff. Cadences are huge. Because if you don't hear that part, you jump off sides, and you can't have that. So they're all going through that right now. And sometimes you could have a play. What was the name of the play? The stumble bum?
The stumble bum.
You go stumble bum, and everybody on the field knows exactly what you're running. That's all you have to say. Other ones, you have literally all those things I just mentioned, and so they're working through all that right now.
Let me ask a very basic question. Why would you ever want to have a really long play call? Like, what is the advantage of that?
Because it's if everybody's speaking the same language, you can communicate the protection, what you might the route.
Wouldn't you want to simplify that down as
combination
quick as possible? Always. Is it just?
Yes, but the more you simplify the best way I can explain this, the more you simplify the verbiage, the less you can change, the less complex the actual play can be. Because otherwise you're asking these players to then memorize 10 different things within one word. Does that make sense? Or you can have
if it's
protection, routes, what you're checking to, potentially 2 play calls in the same thing. Like, does that make sense?
Snap
or no?
count.
Yeah, I get it. I just would think that if I was a head coach, when I become a head coach in the NFL or on the flag football level, wherever it goes, I would think that I would want. I don't want to dumb down my plays, but I also want to be able to give you. I don't want guys to have to think through 10 things so they're not reacting. I would think a great coach, a great OC would make it pretty damn basic, so it's like boom, I know exactly what I'm doing. It's disguised enough that they're not gonna exactly know what we're doing, and that's the goal.
I think you want a foundation of plays where you don't have too many, but like the calls need to have some intricacies in them. And you don't want, like when you go to a restaurant and there's way too much on the menu, that's
Cheesecake Factory.
It's not a good thing.
Not needed.
Right. Like you go to a good restaurant, it's only one side. That's what's on the menu because that's what they're great at.
Taco Bell, cheesy cordita crunch. Let's go.
Or where we went.
I mean, when I ask players about this though, I basically it's not that hard, dude. We do this every single day. Like that's what we do.
Well, in college, they hold up a sign and they have like 4 different logos. They'll have like KFC and Will Ferrell, and like that's how they do it. And that's why a lot of times, but that's what we learned here with Caleb, like the efficiency of learning to watch film and the efficiency of his PSPs, as he called it, pre-snap protections, and your line of scrimmage responsibilities. That's why a lot of these quarterbacks, and Case Keenum talked about this as well, how much behind the 8 ball they are when they come into the NFL, and it's a whole new language they have to learn.
So because you can do this, you can just Google anything.
You chat GPT this?
No, I did not chat GPT this. I said Google.
You should have chat GPT to be better. But what do you got?
No,
I'm
going to Hoge GPT for you.
Did you grok it?
So here's an example from, I guess it's a Packers, because you could come up with any example. Gun South right tout 383 ZE Arrow Y Lookie Puma.
Sounds horrible.
Right. But if you are a player on the team and you know that, okay, gun means what? You're in the shotgun, right? South right tout is that's probably the formation. Probably lining up a specific, I'm trying to, if you look at this for a while, I could probably figure out these things, but I'm literally just Google this off the top. 383 is probably your protection. And then you're talking about the routes that are being put in there. ZE Arrow Y Lookie. And then there's even a note on here what lookie means. Do everything you can to cross face. If you get cut off, then you can break off your route. So the point is, if all of that verbiage I just said is really the only player that needs to know what all that means and be able to spit it all out is the quarterback.
Right.
Okay? Otherwise, if you're just the Y, you got to listen to where I'm lining up in that play call.
Okay.
Because that's the formation part of it.
Trips right.
And then Y Lookie is where, so now I know where I'm lining up. Now I know what route. And I don't need to worry. Now, you might still have to worry about the protection. That's where we talk about with tight ends having to know multiple parts of it. That's why it's a more complex thing.
Tight ends might be second right behind quarterbacks, which is why it takes tight ends a couple of years to get acclimated.
Right.
So, again, right tout, if I'm so ZE is the position of, it looks like that's probably their slot player, but he's actually lined up to the outside on this play. I wish I could show this to you. The point is like within each part of that very long play call, there are directions, very specific directions for each position group. And so I'm just trying to explain, and I know I'm not doing a great job of it, but when you ask that question, like what's the advantage of having these long wordy play calls? In a weird way, you're actually simplifying it for the individual players that are on the field.
Right.
Whereas if you just go, and I'll just make up a word, like what's a cool name for a play call? Give me
Trips
something.
right 72 Z
no,
spot
one
X.
word.
Trips.
That's
Animal.
Animal's a good one. Okay. Well, now I got to think everything that goes in the animal. Now, if I have a specialty play on that week, like Stumble Bum, okay, that's 1 or 2 things you maybe have to remember for the entire week. When we call animal, we know what that means. But if your entire playbook is animal, then rhinoceros, and then cat and all this stuff, and then for each one of those, I have to know everything I just said.
Poppy
the puppy.
Yes.
Great play call.
Right. Poppy.
Gary's going Maverick. Shout out to Gary. Good to see Gary back in the chat today. Hope everything's going well with our guy.
Chat GPT for the record, crush this. Trips right 72, Z spot, X dig, X shell, kill, alert 24 dive.
You say X what?
X dig.
Oh.
H shallow, kill, alert 24 dive. You know what that means?
No, quarterback. You weren't clear enough in the huddle, and I lost track of what you were saying.
Well, you want to run the first play unless the defense shows a certain look. Then you got to switch to the 24 dive run.
Okay.
Poppy.
Right. Maybe ChatGPT did do better than Hoge GPT.
He definitely did. There's some great stuff in here. But first, before we get to more outstanding audio, now properly aligned by Carm, my bad. First time I've ever made a mistake on the show, damn it. But first, indeed, we are.
He just made another mistake. That was amazing.
Not really, but kind of, sort of. Hey, shout out to our friends at Lucy. I could use some Lucy right now. A little shot of the old nicotine. Let's get it going here. They got the flavors that you want. They got the strengths you want, different varieties. How strong do you want it? How juicy do you want it? They've got all this for you. Let's level up your nicotine routine with our friends at Lucy. Go to lucy.co/CHGO and use the promo code. Write this down. CHGO 2025, and you will get 20% off your first order. Lucy's got a 30-day refund policy if you change your mind. Again, one more time, that's lucy.co, and use that code CHGO 2025, 20% off. And here comes the fine print. Lucy products are only for adults of legal age, and every order is age verified. Warning, this product does contain nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
Shout out to my guy Bryce who used that code, CHGO 2025.
There we go.
Over the weekend.
I like Robert Lee in the chat. Time to go loosey goosey. That's right. Get your loosey goosey on. That's cool.
All right. Well, let me tell you about a non-negotiable before pretty much anything you do. Coming to work, going on a date, moving. You just want to smell good, right? That's why Mando comes in here, because Mando is unique from all other deodorants. It's a whole body deodorant. It's safe to use anywhere on your body. It's created by a doctor who saw firsthand how normal BO is being misdiagnosed and mistreated. And you can choose from a variety of scents like bourbon leather, clover woods, Mount Fuji, or Pro Sport. I was in the store the other day looking at all the options for Mando. But if you've never used Mando before, you might want to check out their starter pack because it's clinically proven to control odor better than a shower and soap alone. 12 hours after a shower, you're usually starting to, stink. And with Mando, no, you're all good to go. So Mando Starter Pack is perfect for new customers. Check it out. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice, like mini body wash and deodorant wipes. Plus, you get free shipping. And as a special offer for our listeners, new customers get $5 off a starter pack with our exclusive code. That equates to over 40% off your starter pack. Use code CHGO at shopmando.com. That's SHOPMANDO.com. Please support our show. Tell them we sent you. Smell fresher, stay drier, boost your confidence from head to toe with Mando.
Yo. I love our friends at Mando. All right.
So I got a text from our special guest, and unless I'm just getting the most cruel joke played on me, he claims he's heading over.
Okay. We'll see.
So we'll see. And this is just going to dictate my entire mood for the next 3 days, is what happens in the next 30 minutes.
Okay.
I'm not sure what I want to happen.
Be on the edge of your seat. And you could start guessing as to who would be coming in that would have Greg this on edge that he literally, I don't think, can focus on the show anymore, which is totally fine.
It's not any different than any other day.
Do you want to do more sound here or your Carman Cents?
Well, I'm going to do it around. Carman Cents is coming up in a second. But to set that up first, I would like to hear from our friend Caleb Williams, who was asked about a little, I think, significant tidbit that they are messing with the footwork because Ben is a left foot forward guy and got a lot moving around here. with a new head coach, a new offense, new receivers, trying to get your footing in the NFL, and now we're changing the footing. So Caleb was asked yesterday about the footing, and he has a lot of Ben Johnson in his answer.
I guess the Ben Johnson effect, right? I guess the Ben Johnson effect, right? He's gonna get a kick out of that when he hears it. I think part of it is just different coaches have different philosophies for things, and that's one of his things is left foot up. I've been a right foot up guy for typically all of my career, and I think I've done it once or twice throughout my time of playing QB. So it's just one of his things. And then, like I said, the details, being on top of it, huddle, we call it PSP, but pre-snap procedure, all these different things matter, and especially in big games and big moments, all the little things come up. And so I think that's important to him, and it's important to us, and we gotta get on top of it and be on top of it from the head down. So, like I said, the Ben Johnson effect, I guess, right?
Okay.
Can't wait to hear you read into this one. I could just tell by the way he said okay, he was about to.
I know, he really wanted us to lock in there.
Okay, what do you got, Carm? I'm ready. Pizzatola's ready.
So here's the deal. Caleb Williams is a supremely talented young man who hopefully is going to be a great quarterback in the NFL. You are asking a guy who has a lot on his plate, from which we'll get to with Case Keenum when he underlines that, learning the offense, learning how to be a leader, learning 8,000 things a day as they're messing with the play calls that we were just talking about. And now you're asking him to flip his feet because, in theory, you're going to get the ball out quicker with some of the stuff they want to run. And I get the end game here, but it doesn't sound to me like it's necessarily going to be easier for him. This is adding another degree of difficulty. And that's why and the way Caleb answered the question, Ben Johnson will like it because I just said it's the Ben Johnson effect. The Ben Johnson effect is he's trying to be a people pleaser here, a Ben pleaser. And there's part of me that just wants to make sure that he's advocating for himself. Hey, man, if you're more comfortable with your right foot back versus your left foot back and you don't want to change that around, I hope that he's telling. I'm not saying that that's a drop dead for him. But if it's messing with him, I want to remind him to advocate for yourself, because that is a significant switch for a lot of QBs with the way they've talked about it. And so I get that he wants to do right by the Bears and right by Ben and right by all these things, but I hope he doesn't leave himself out of the equation. If it's not comfortable for him, I'd rather have him be comfortable than switching his feet around, which I'm sure that Ben would want that too. But it's just another little thing that is under a potential change that I'm wondering how it'll all play out.
Well, Ben said that he was already working on that before Ben had approached him to it, like tinkering with it. And Caleb had said that he's done this a few times in his career.
Right, a few times.
Right. So I get where you're coming from. It's a lot of different changes, and that's going to be a big one. But, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how – and as Adam said, we've gone through this with Fields.
Yeah.
And it, does it actually change, how –
Are you saying, though, that if Caleb doesn't want to do it, he shouldn't have to?
That's right.
So you're going to pay a coach $13 million to come here to develop this guy and then tell the quarterback he can do whatever he wants?
No, it's not whatever he wants, but the footwork thing.
The footwork's everything. The footwork's and the timing is it's everything that Ben Johnson needs to fix with him. That affects accuracy. It affects, first of all, it affects getting the ball out to the right person at the right time, and then the accuracy.
I hear you. Let's just say for argument's sake that he's doing this, and Caleb's telling him every day, "I'm not comfortable doing that." What do you do if you're Ben?
Wait, say that again.
I hear what you're saying. That this is a huge change that Ben thinks. Let's just say that clearly Ben thinks this is very important. Let's just say hypothetically that Caleb is doing it and he's not comfortable, and he goes to Ben and say, "Hey man, I just don't feel comfortable going it this way." What happens then?
Well, if there's evidence of practices over the course of the offseason where they're in agreement on that, then maybe they go back.
I mean, will he revert to his old habits? Like when the bullets are flying, it's easy to practice these things now when you know you're not being tackled and try to execute them. But then some players revert back to, old habits or bad habits even at times, once the lights come on. But I would point to a different sport going on right now with Matt Shaw, the third baseman for the Cubs. He had a high leg kick in his batting stance, when he's swinging at the ball. They sent him down to AAA. They made him, eliminate that or tone it down. And now he's playing great since he's been called back up. So he took that, and that's something he hadn't done his entire career, but he's an athlete. And so he was able to implement that and now execute it. And he's been playing at a high level ever since he came up. So Caleb, being the athlete that he is.
Are you saying that OTAs and training camp is in essence the minor leagues? Where he gets to work on it?
Well, absolutely. Then the test will be when the lights come on.
Right.
Can you actually do this when it's everything's running 100 miles an hour?
Matt Shaw needs to fix his footwork throwing to first base too, by the way.
Calm down. Okay,
It's way too lackadaisical.
Okay, Carl.
Did you just call me Carl Williams?
No.
Who's Carl?
Barstool Carl. I don't think he calls him that himself
You just
that anymore.
Barstool Carl'd him?
Because Carl's been making this joke.
Oh, I don't know what that
It's a Twitter thing.
It's a joke?
Yeah.
Oh, I was just an
He's
observation.
been making great plays.
Oh, I've watched like 3 Cubs plays.
Don't watch our games. Just watch your team. Everybody over there
don't
thinks
watch my team either.
Yeah.
I've been watching hockey. Get yelled at by Carm. Hockey Hoge.
Hockey Hoge.
Speaking of the bars, someone on Barstool had a horrible take about Chicago Summers yesterday. I saw that going around too.
I missed it.
Well, he's like,
but you guys said the pizza is better.
Summer's
in New York,
not here yet. You can't hate on Chicago Summer when it's not even here.
Yeah, I've been getting impatient about it.
Well,
too.
I'm impatient too. This is a weird year.
It actually hasn't been. We just had an early Memorial Day, so it feels weird.
Okay.
We got a 4.5. No, this is important. We're about to, starting tomorrow, have 4.5 straight months of great weather.
Okay.
So settle down, be patient.
All right. The Tom Skilling show will be going on after this program. Right now, because
Tom Skilling would be here.
I love Tom Skilling. Tom Skilling has never missed anything in his life. Hey, all y'all yelling about the footwork. Can we bring in Case Keenum here, Steven? And we might as well make this a Carman Cents moment in time.
Oh boy.
But let's do Keenum first, and then we'll talk about that. Let me get Keenum. Hook up Keenum. Look at this guy. I know they can't.
No, he's still never figured that out either.
No, I got it. Case Keenum. Hey, buddy. My man. QB 2.8. Can you tell us exactly what you're working on with Caleb here to try to get him to the next level?
He's a sponge, for being an all-world talent, a guy who's obviously since high school, been the best player on any field anywhere he's ever stepped on, to be humble enough to ask me questions and watch and learn has been really refreshing to see a guy that young and that talented, but still take to me what I have to say. It's been really fun.
So that's him just complimenting Caleb. But if we can get what he's working on with Caleb, Steven, yeah, this is what he is. This speaks to the footwork and everything that is actually going. The amount, just count the things that Case Keenum is actually saying that he's working on with Caleb here.
What jumped out immediately was just effortless arm talent. I don't know if I've seen a guy do that as a a young guy. But just being able to take sometimes what defenses give you and not make this crazy big, off schedule play, letting those plays kind of come to you. And I think he found some spots of that last year, and he's settled into this offense and how Ben sees it, and trying to get on the same page with him and Press and Deck and JT, trying to all come out of that quarterback room and seeing the defense the exact same way as the play caller has been. So, what we're trying to accomplish and how we're trying to accomplish it, along with the footwork, The operation before the snap, defense recognition, all those things combined with leadership. So, just it's quarterbacking. I mean, it's an art and it's a science and it's all of that combined. And there's 100 ways of getting the ball down the field. But in the end, I think there is some common threads, some common themes of being a pro quarterback, what it means day in and day out, showing up here, being ready to do your job.
And so that brings us to our next segment, which is the amazing Carman Cents, and it is brought to you by Rate.com, the amazing Rate.com. You want to download the Rate app and keep both your wallet and your well-being happy. What's working? What's not working? How does it add up? We are living in the reality that I'm bringing you right now. And here is the reality. He just said that Caleb is working on taking what the defense gives you, getting on the same page with the play caller, seeing it as the same page as the play caller, working on the footwork, working on the leadership, trying to take what's easy. I mean, it was like 17,000 things, all right? My whole point is, and this is the most easy Carman Cents of all time, this ain't easy. It's a really tough job, and it takes time. I saw it in the chat earlier today. How long did it take for Drew Brees to get there? A long-ass time. How many games did Peyton Manning win his first year? How many games did Troy Aikman win his first year? Not a lot, okay? The Bears won 5 games last year. I don't even care how many games they won. The point is that, look, he was drafted number 1 overall, but he's taking on a zillion things, and he's massively talented. So Chicago, Bears fans, Carm, you got to be patient. You got to give him time. This is not going to be overnight. I talked about overnight last week. There is no overnight. This is a day-by-day punch in the clock, get a tenth of a 1% better each day. And if he stays on it with his talent, with what we saw yesterday, running to his left, firing a bullet 40 yards, he has an elite level of talent. But if you think that it's all going to hit this year, I think you're nuts. It's hopefully he just needs to, it's not going to be linear either. He just needs to keep having moments where he hits higher highs that he's hit before, and ultimately the trend chart will be going up. But there's just he's just not a finished product, man, and he's not going to be, I think, for some time. Yeah. End of Carman Cents today. Thank you.
That was fair. I'm going to send you to overnights.
What's happening?
You said overnights. Just thinking that'd be a great gig for you.
Mid-show firing. I can respect it.
No, just kidding. Just kidding. All right, we got to get another break in here. And we still got some fun things coming your way. But first,
as
Carm's going to wrap up his Carman Cents with some more love for Rate.
Yeah, my friends at Rate are my best friends in the entire world. If you are looking to buy a home like I did and moved in yesterday, you want to do something that will make it a lot easier for yourself. And that's why I'm telling you about the Rate app, which is the game changer that you need. Get approved for mortgage in minutes. If you're not organized like I am, somehow they still get it done. It's amazing. And I get an unbelievable rate, like way better than elsewhere. It was, I don't know how they did it, but they did it. Also, home equity loan, personal loan. They can get one of those in under 15 days. Homeowners insurance, auto insurance, they got that for you. They also have 800 free wellness videos. I'm telling you about this every single day because you want to do it. You want to learn how to make the matcha. You want to learn how to breathe better so you can relax. A lot of stress out there these days. You want to meditate. You want to stretch. Don't end up like me with a partially torn Achilles. If I had the Rate app, this wouldn't have happened, but I didn't. So I'm sitting here, can't play tennis for 6 months now. Download the Rate app today to get yourself started. And you can also enter Rate's CHGO Summertime Sweepstakes. We're giving away tickets to this Friday's Cub game and also Saturday, July 26th, Cubs, Sox on the south side in the Rate suite right behind home plate, all-inclusive food and drinks. It's unbelievable. It's a great time. All you got to do is go to allchgo.com/rate, allchgo.com/rate. Get yourself entered. We're giving away the tickets. Download that Rate app. You'll be cooking.
And whatever the sport, the app to bet is Circa Sports Illinois. Circa Sports, it's sports betting the way it should be. Circa Sports Illinois has high betting limits, low holds, exceptional customer service. Bet on all your favorite teams in every game this season. Spreads, props, futures, in-game. Circa Sports has it. Fund and bet like a pro from anywhere, anytime in Illinois. March Madness is coming. It already came by, actually. What bets are you watching? Download your new bookie today at circasports.com. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. As we keep the show going here on CHGO, now's a great time to become a diehard. We got a diehard sale happening on. It's a flash sale going through till tomorrow. So if you want to sign up right now, get all our great content, discounts, 20% off all merch. It is our start of summer flash sale. Right now, you can become a CHGO diehard for $36 for the whole year. That comes out to $3 per month. You get all of our great online content as well. And again, you're getting a free t-shirt right when you sign up. You get a free shirt every year you renew as well. So take advantage of our awesome offer right here. And as we continue to bring you all this great content, very excited to bring a special guest into the show, Jerermy Piven.
Yeah.
A legendary, I'll call him a legendary Bears fan, which is why he's here on this show.
Yeah, no, that's how I'm known as a Bears fan. Wherever I go, as a legendary Bears fan,
Yeah.
I'm an athletic supporter. Number one credit. I love it. Thank you, brother.
Well, you had some awesome tweets during the season as we were all
Yeah.
suffering here. You wanted to start a support group for Bears fans. I thought it was a great idea.
Absolutely, man.
Great move. Look at that.
Yeah.
Looks like a former linebacker right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, we think that we're doing some form of like Bears therapy on our post-game shows. Like the fans need it. So we were in support of that idea.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Is that a question? I'm confused.
No.
You want me to expound on? Yes. Been a Bears fan my whole life. And every year we want them to get better. And I think they got, some great pieces.
Yeah, let's hope so. I mean, we say it every year. This is the time for hope, but we'll see when the season comes around if they're breaking hearts again.
Well, thanks for stopping by. I know you got a big
Absolutely.
show coming up next Friday, June 6th.
I don't want to talk about that, bro. I want to unpack the Bears because you guys never talk about the Bears.
No, that's all we do.
Let's talk more about the Bears. Oh, wait, shit. Sorry, brother. You're right. I do have a show with the Vic. Saturday night, the 6th. Yes. 2 shows. We just added a second show. And we are going, listen, one of my favorite bits in my show is talking about playing for the Evanston Wildcats and being one of the only white boys on the team, what that was like. People don't realize that, Chicago is an amazing town, an amazing sports town, but also Evanston, people give me shit. Can we swear on this show?
Yes,
I
we
don't
can.
know.
Go ahead.
Okay, beautiful.
Great job.
So, thank you so
Keep
much.
going.
I love it. So, Evanston is one of the few integrated communities in the world, really. And so growing up in that community and living amongst other cultures, that part of what I think racism is when you don't know about someone else's culture, but I was immersed in it and so lucky. And we every year we're competitive. And, I was ultimately there are no 5'9" Jewish linebackers in the NFL, so I had to end my dreams and continue acting.
The fact that you didn't realize that you should have been a kicker at that age, and I mean, it worked out okay for you though.
My jersey number said linebacker, and my body said kicker, and I didn't understand that.
You could have been Cairo, man.
You know what? I'm the exact same size as Julian Edelman. So the reality is there are a lot of undersized Jews out there who have overachieved.
Well,
See, I grew up thinking I was going to be the next Steve Kerr, and that didn't work out for me either.
you're too thick for Kerr.
Well, I wasn't thick back then, but now I've caught the
okay.
Taco Bell caught up to me.
Yeah.
That's a good diet.
Just for the record, my first ever girlfriend went to Evanston High School. It was like, and I mean, it happened a couple of weeks ago, but it was great. She had,
You're a late bloomer. I love it.
right. She had Jordan posters on the wall.
I love it.
Like, I mean, for these first experiences in life, can you imagine? Like, you're finding out how great life really is, and then you get to see Michael afterwards. I mean, think about the greatness of Evanston is my whole point here. Like that doesn't happen.
You were intimidated by MJ on the wall?
No, I loved it. I was
okay.
It got me to the next level.
Yeah, probably all the blood rushed to your power source, and then you started questioning everything. Like, why am I staring MJ in the eyes? she's reverse cowgirl, and it's all awkward and beautiful all at the same time.
We've hit a new level. That's why I brought it up. That's amazing. Did you talked to Jim McMahon on your was it your
How You Live in Jay Piven?
Yeah,
he's just a fascinating character to me. He's one of these guys who, you know, there aren't a lot of guys like him anymore. He just was this kind of maverick gunslinging guy that was true to himself. And, you know, I grew up watching him and Walter play. And that's one of the reasons why people don't, I think they don't understand that, like, you know, when you have a team and you grow up watching them, you share those moments with your father and you're tied in with them intrinsically, and you can't support another team. There's no way. So you got guys like McMahon who, you know, he was undersized and probably, you know, if they were to look at his combine stuff, he wouldn't impress anyone. But there's certain variables, some certain intangibles, like, you know, the confidence that he had. You can imagine him just saying, just go deep and I'll whip it to you. Let's go, guys.
Right.
Totally hungover in the huddle, and he made it happen. And, you know, there were guys on the offensive line that were built like Taco Bell over here. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like Reeve Sorey. You're like Reeve Sorey, like,
great,
you know,
name.
Walter didn't. Yeah.
We're in the thick of it right now. This is my generation, so it's really the show's finally turned to where I needed to be.
You had offensive linemen that were, you know, didn't look like athletes, and yet Walter was breaking all records, 275 yards a game, 2,000 yards per season. And any running back that I talk to, when I say, who's your favorite, who's the best running back of all time, they all say Walter, every one of them.
Yeah, I grew up a little bit north of you, and the Bears back in the early 80s, they lived across from Burton Park in Ravinia. They had these small houses there, and McMahon was like throwing passes to Ken Marjoram and Jeff Fisher, and like I was like a 10-year-old, and like they're the Bears. And then I think, at least for me, the greatest play in Bears history was Thursday night against the Minnesota Vikings, where McMahon is he had like a lacerated kidney or something crazy where he didn't practice all week. Ditka's rules, you can't play if you don't practice, and they're losing the game. He's in his ear all game long, put me in there. The Vikings send the all-out blitz. Walter Payton makes the greatest block ever, and he throws a bomb to Willie Gault, and there's 2 more touchdowns after that. The Bears were so freaking good. It's like one day we'll have that again. But literally was the pinnacle.
You never know. We're optimistic. You know, Caleb now has a great coach, and they put some great pieces around him, and we'll see what he can do. It's going to be exciting.
I love there were a lot of really good Ari Gold memes going around when the Bears needed to fire their coach in the middle of last season. Like, that really seemed to take hold.
You know, it's funny. I was in Australia. I'm going back there to do some stand up, and I was at a pro basketball game there, and they have this fascinating league. And the guy said, as Ari Gold, what speech would you give to the team? They're down by 13 right now. And so I kind of forgot we were live on the air to all of Australia. And I just kind of, you know, when someone says as Ari Gold, then I launch in, you know, I go into that mode, and I just said, you know, guys, we have a finite amount of time on this planet. You can be viciously mediocre, or you can get the fuck after it. And you know, and I just looked up, and everyone was like, no. And of course, they have no delay there in Australia. Whoops. And that's how I met Josh Giddey, because he's from Melbourne. And so we became friends, and from that, because it was just like one of those strange, legendary moments where they couldn't get to the button fast enough.
Yeah, they'll live.
Yeah, but and then again, I went to the Cubs game on the north side, and they said, listen, when you do the 7th inning stretch, can you do your catchphrase? And I was like, I don't think it's Father's Day. It's Sunday. This is a nationally televised game. I don't think this is going to go well. And I was like, hey, Cubs fans, let's hug it out, you little bitches, like on live television. And they were like, whoa, what's happening?
They need that.
I think there's an argument to be made. We're all Entourage fans here. That's probably not surprising to you. But
I promised my wife I wouldn't freak out with you being here.
He's like stunningly not talking right now, just staring at you.
I literally promised my wife that I would not do this thing where I just talk to you about your career in Entourage for the next 30 minutes, which I totally want to do.
It's okay. We all 11 people listening are going to be really fascinated.
Oh man, you're on the
No,
biggest
just-
Bears show on earth right here.
Really,
my
I
friend.
love it.
You are.
Is that real time? People like
That is
yeah,
real time
there are.
people.
Amazing.
There are.
It's great when they give you feedback as soon as you start talking.
We love
not
it.
scary at all.
He deals with that with stand up.
What's this can of corn?
Absolutely, yeah. My hecklers are a little strange though, because they just scream out Lloyd.
No.
Let's hug it out, bitch. Shit
Right in the
like
middle.
that.
That you must love that.
Yeah, well, it's jarring because it sounds like they have Tourette's. Because I'll be like right in the middle of a bit, you know what I mean? And then, but listen, that's the great thing about stand up is you have to adjust immediately, and then just kind of whatever's being thrown at you, you have to continuously call audibles.
Yeah.
Which is it's just fun.
You very deservingly won, I believe, 3 Emmys
3 in a row, but who's counting?
with that. But
There you go.
I mean, I think there's arguments to be made that is up there as the funniest TV character of all time. What was the evolution of that character though? Because I feel like watching the show, it's just sort of there was a building to it. Is that fair?
that was because they had let's just equate it all to sports. We're on a sports show. Okay, they had a number of plays that they wanted to run, and I wasn't necessarily in the starting rotation, and my character was kind of a little bit of an afterthought, and I had other options to do other shows where I could get more playing time, if you will. See, I'm equating everything to sports. And, I was billed last, they said, big pay cut. And I was like, look, I know that Wahlberg's life is very specific and unique. There is an Ari, is his agent. There is a drama Turtle E. Other great shows, The Sopranos and Second City were on at HBO. You could have freedom of language. I was like, if I do this right, I'll get a shot. But, in the very beginning, I'm going to have 1 scene per episode. Just kind of root it and ground the show, be the adult in the room. But if we do it right, then the character will evolve. And so he wasn't the focal point, but Doug Ellen, who wrote it, was really genius. He did a great job. He wrote a hell of a show, but he also saw, okay, he could see what's working and then start kind of tailoring it to what's working. So by episode 7, it was, the Ari's kind of coming out party where it was in Malibu, and there's this great long tracking shot where it's all one continuous shot until I have this really big monologue dressing down Josh Weinberg, the little punk ass bitch, and so thank you.
Yes, sir.
And so that kind of episode kind of was Ari's coming out, but for me, growing up on the stage in Chicago from the time I was 8 years old, I won the Fresh Face of the Year award for playing that role at 40. So I had been an actor for 2 years before I quote unquote broke out. So I think one of the things about Chicago people is we work hard and we stay in it and we don't give up. And obviously you can't beat someone who doesn't give up. So that's kind of was a metaphor for my life and my career. I just kind of stayed in it until, I bet on myself. I took a massive pay cut to do the role. Could have done other bigger roles, but knew like, okay, if we do this right, this is going to all work out.
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about the evolution of that character as it gets to the end and you quit, the character quits to be with his family. Like that for me was one of the more like everybody always points to all the hilarity that you brought and the tenacity, but that part was just such a curveball. And I'm just curious from your perspective, like playing that scene out and what that meant to you for your character, because I always felt that was when I watch it over once a year because it's like my therapy in a lot of ways. And that's
Man,
like
you need
for
an actual therapist.
Yeah, no, I got one. You got one.
Well
but
done.
it is very powerful.
Thank you, man. Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of dualities with the character. He was, over the top and sometimes, was easily triggered and type A and all that stuff. But, you thought he was a pig, but he was monogamous with his wife. You thought he was an equal opportunity offender, like, and people were like, oh, you couldn't do that show today. Well, not only could you do the show, but people would love it and flock to it because they miss edgy, real, authentic content. The roast of Tom Brady was the #1 piece of watch content on Netflix. Like that, it was raunchy as hell. Yeah. So people miss this type of stuff, and I think when the people that run the platforms catch up to what people want, we'll kind of go back to it again. But yeah, like playing a moment where like my character finds out the reason his son didn't get into a great school is because of him. Dan Castellaneta, a Chicago guy from Second City, as well as myself. He played the dean, and who also was the voice of Homer Simpson. And when he said, yeah, the reason why your kid's not getting in is because you're yelling on the phone and all the parents are like, get out of here. And so, I played the scene just truthfully in that moment, and I started getting emotional. And I don't want to say too much. I've never said this before, but they didn't necessarily want to keep the take where I got emotional. So I said to someone on the show, if your kid didn't get in because of you, would that affect you? Yes. Would you get emotional? I would. Okay. And then they put it back in. But that was one of those rare moments before I had any power. Because as an actor, journeyman actor like I am, you don't really have a lot of power. So you just do other performances that you hope get in, and then someone else is in charge of your work. And so you could do a take that got in, and I won my first Emmy from that scene. I submitted that scene. And sometimes you got to stand up for yourself, and you have to put yourself in their shoes so they can see it through their perspective. You know what I mean? Because that's,
I love it.
Yeah.
A couple great lessons in there.
It's a great job advocating for yourself.
I also want to ask you about Second City because, I don't know, as a big comedy fan, we all grew up here in Chicago. Like, I feel like Second City's our comedy home team. Like, we'll take you on Comedy Store. We got you. Like, and you were there with Farley, weren't you?
I was there in the 90s, and yeah, man, he was as wild as he was everything you had hoped and thought he would be. And, I came from the stage in my own theater company with John Cusack. And so I was doing wild stuff, and God rest his soul. He was, just a beast. And, we miss him. We wish he was still around, but yeah, he was like no other. And you also have to find, balance in your life and take care of yourself. We can't. We're spirits having a human experience, so we're in a human body. You can't run it into the ground, unfortunately.
Well, some of his best friends are still mad at him because they miss him, not being around.
Yeah,
which I get that. I've lost one of my good friends. I wish he was still here too. And if we're going back in time, was the Seinfeld moment getting to do that? Was that something super special? As the Jewish guy on the show is throwing that out there.
I because I was a Chicago actor that still was in that mindset. I was in LA on a series called The Larry Sanders Show, but I was still thinking that I was poor, so I didn't have a TV. So I was on Seinfeld and had never seen the show.
Oh wow!
So I didn't even know what show I was on. So it was very weird.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but that was perfect for me because I didn't know I was with the Beatles.
Yeah.
So I wasn't like, oh my God. I just went and had fun and did my thing, and it all worked out. I've since become friends with Seinfeld, and I've told him that story, and he couldn't believe it. But he's someone I can go to with stand-up and really just go to him as a mentor. He's in the middle of a set, and they're heckling him. The Free Palestine protesters are protesting during his set, and I saw this little video of the clip of him, and he said, he said to them, we both want the same thing. We both, you're looking for an audience. I'm looking for an audience. You're not doing well. I'm doing well. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh my God, this guy's a genius. He's being heckled. He has nothing to do with Israeli politics. He's being heckled as if he does. He's just Jewish. Right. We don't run Israel. You know what I mean? Like, what are you doing? And so he somehow, in a genius move, did some comedy, Tai Chi on them, where he just flipped it on them and just gave them a perspective of like, he took their perspective. You're looking for the audience. I'm looking for the audience. This isn't your audience. You know what I mean? It was kind of genius. Instead of getting furious, throwing them out, which
It's amazing.
Yeah, like to have that mindset and you're in the middle of a bit.
Right.
Don't you hate it when you don't get on the train, you get in the train? He's doing like his Seinfeld like bits, and they're going,
so
free
good at it.
Palestine,
And then he comes up with something to say on the fly. That's,
you have to continuously be calling audibles up there. But that's why I do like 200, 250 shows a year, 5 to 8 shows a week, so you can be ready for the fight. And if you come see me at the Vic on June 6th, second show added, nice transition.
Great
Thank
job.
you very much.
There you go.
Why don't we give them like some
There it
free
is,
meet
right?
and greets? There we go. Good work, everybody. Good work with the graphics.
Look at that. Yeah.
We did it. We
Production
did it.
team. Free meet and greets?
Free meet and greets if they mention your show.
That's
Ooh,
right.
I like
Friday,
that.
June 6th.
you'll get some. I guarantee it.
Is this sports over everything?
That's right.
They're very, very, very passionate.
We have. If you stick around, you can go on our Blackhawk show today. You can go on our Bull show. We got
Isn't this Chris Chelios? I thought I was talking to Chris Chelios.
what?
Yeah. Absolutely. Here
What-
you go.
what-
Here's some merch for you.
Oh, thank you, buddy.
Some Chicago's
Look
finest.
at this. Oh my
Just like when you
God.
didn't know you were with
This
the
is
Beatles with the
awesome.
Seinfeld. That's what's happening right now to you. It's come full
Oh my
circle. You don't
God.
realize the
been working there for 3 years,
presence
they
of
haven't given me a
greatness
hat.
you're within.
I was gonna say.
Love it.
Yeah,
This is
well, man.
amazing.
Yeah, no, we appreciate you a lot. I
No,
mean,
this is great.
going back to the show, obviously Brian Urlacher makes a cameo. What was that like for you as a Bears fan to do a little work with him?
I mean, he's like, it's his perspective, because I played linebacker growing up, and then you're around Brian, you're like, this is the size of an actual NFL linebacker, But yeah, he's one of those rare guys that like, he's really humble and was just kind of brilliant at what he did, it's a shame he doesn't have more to do with the Bears. I wish the Bears would take care of their own a little more. Some of the legends.
We hear that from time to time. Yeah.
Yeah, that's too bad. But yeah, he was just an unbelievable player. At his size, what was he playing, like safety or something before that?
New Mexico.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think his kid's playing for Notre Dame.
Yep. Well, he just transferred out, but he was last year. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. He's a good player too.
That's what I heard.
Can you give one lesson on the way out, perhaps, to the youngsters who are chasing a dream out there? Because as early as you were going after it, as you just outlined, it didn't fully pop for you until a little bit later. How did you sort of maintain that I can do this amongst the incredibly tough landscape that you're trying to navigate?
Well, I'll say people a lot of time right now, because if you want to act, you're gonna have to make yourself really vulnerable and audition a lot. And a lot of the people that I saw give up, they just couldn't deal with the rejection.
Right.
And there's a lot of rejection. So if you can deal with being rejected a lot, and you believe in yourself and you love to do it and have to do it, I wouldn't do it unless you have to do it. If you don't have to do it, don't put yourself through it, man. That's a lot of pain. But if you do, then stay with it. And then the more reps you get, so if you get like whatever like job you can do it as an actor, so that you can just have all those reps, so that when they call your number, you're ready. Put your ego aside, and also just you have to, listen. I didn't come up during social media. People would tell me I sucked to my face. I didn't have to read about it online.
That was the opposite. They never tell it to her face. It's just online every day.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so the trick is to like not let it affect you, and it's easier said than done. Sure. We're human beings, and you see that and go, oh. So if you don't let it affect you, you're gonna thrive.
When you talk about dealing with that rejection, I guess I'm curious. Through your years, is there a specific role that you felt like you almost had or got rejected for, you tried out for, that ended up being something big that you always think about?
You have to understand, I've auditioned for so many things that and I've not gotten so many roles. I mean, I'm at the point now where like I was helping I did this sports movie that's out right now called Sweetwater about the first black player in the NBA, and I play Coach Joe Lapchick, who helped break the color barrier with the New York Knicks. And so this guy Everett Osborne, who was a pro player in Australia, coming full circle, and really wanted to be a pro basketball player, and brilliant player, plays Nat Sweetwater Clifton. And I was helping him recently with this audition. So I was filming him and running lines off camera, and we were getting the right take for him to submit. And I was like, man, I could kill this role. What is this role? And then it said Jerermy Piven type for the role. I was like, oh my God. I am Jerermy Piven. Maybe I can get this part. And so I had my manager call him up and goes, hey, Jeremy was, you're thinking about Piven for this role? And they're like, nah, not really. So they wouldn't even see me to play a role where they wanted me. I was a prototype for the role. So we're just living in weird times.
Yeah.
Nothing makes sense. Sometimes you're like, I think if you try to, it's so insane what's going on, at least from my perspective, that you have to hold it together to not go crazy because nothing makes sense. And if you continuously go, it doesn't make it enough, forget that. Fuck it. Just keep going. It's not going to make sense. You just keep going, and that's all you can do. Stay after it.
That reminds me of I think the story goes that Charlie Chaplin tried out for a lookalike Charlie Chaplin contest and finished 4th.
That's amazing. That's brilliant. I wouldn't even finish 4th in a Jerermy Piven lookalike contest.
What can we? What can we expect in your stand-up? By the way, we have viewers in Australia. If you want to plug your Australia shows too, we're like this melting pot of Bears fans from all over.
That's crazy. Yeah, I'm playing these beautiful theaters at Hammer Hall, and I am. If you go to my website, you'll see all my shows out there. Perth, New Zealand. I'll be all over there. Sorry, what did you ask me?
Just what can we expect from your stand-up? Like,
I'm all over the map, man. I tell stories about doing lines with my mom. I mean, running lines. Don't do lines with your mom. Because my mom was my acting teacher. So with Entourage, she would take the script and she would play Turtle, Drama, everyone. And she would just go, okay, action. And I would just launch into the craziest, most offensive monologues. And she just wouldn't blink an eye. She would just, and so I unpack all of that and I literally start acting all that out. And I start playing Ari Gold and screaming, Lloyd, if you had so much cum squirted in your eyes that you can't see what's right, you know what I mean? I don't know how much I could say.
You said it. It's all right. Gary can handle it.
I was going to holster my favorite Ari line, which was of the silverback apes, which is always going to be my favorite
gang
one.
raped by a silverback. But my mom she passed away a couple months ago. I buried her next to my father. Yeah. It's a crazy time for me. And so I get to get up on stage and make people laugh, and celebrate her and her legacy, and I'm lucky.
It's beautiful.
Having that support system. I mean, your parents literally had like an acting school. That's where you went.
Yeah, Piven Theater.
I was just listening to a different comedian, Tom Segura, the other day, talk about his new Netflix special came out, and his mom called and was like, "That was horrible. Like, why are you saying those things?" So I can't imagine acting out Ari Gold with your mom.
See, my mom would never say it's horrible. We had a rule in our house. You can say whatever you want as long as it's funny.
Okay.
And so we had a lot of freedom. And so that's just a really great rule. Because if it's funny, then it's insightful we can all share the same laugh. Oh, my God, yeah, that's insane. I'm getting older, man. I used to look at a woman in a short skirt, and I'd be like, God damn, she's hot. Now I'm like, I wonder if she's cold. You know what I mean? Like that's a funny line. That's a funny line that we can all agree on. Yeah, that's funny. You know what I mean? Like, and so if you can offend people, our fire chief in L.A., everything burned to the ground. I don't know if you guys know this. The Palisades, Malibu, we all burned to the ground. Yeah. And she's this amazing woman got this great wife, and her first priority was diversity. I was hoping it would be water. So this is what
still great priority.
Well, I can't go any further. I can't start unpacking all my bits out here.
Yeah.
No,
but it's gonna be. Listen, I'm not taking a political stance, but I'm observing things that are funny, and if you're offended by it, it's still funny. You know what I mean?
We need more of that.
No, we do. That's why I love stand-up as much as I do. Steven, can we put that on the screen one more time again here?
June 6th.
June 6th, Friday, June 6th. Vic
Free meet
Theater.
and greet for everyone that's listening. We're going to hug it out. You guys want to be a part of my life? All your laughs will be recorded because I'm doing a special. I'm shooting I'm shooting my special that night.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are you allowed to say where it is or where it's going to go?
I don't know where it's going to go.
Yeah, I know that happens sometimes. Well, that's another incentive to go there. It's going to be great. I'm looking forward to that. I want to go.
Yeah, let's go.
We have a golf outing that day, but we got time to get over there.
2 shows, 7:30 and 10.
Meet and greet. That means I get 30 more minutes of FaceTime with the legend over here.
No, let's do it.
Have you ever had anybody look at you the way he's looked at you this entire show? It's truly been unbelievable. He does not look.
Well, I was so excited. Like, I thought I was being pranked at one point. Like, there's no way this guy's responding to me. And then I was like, I'm pestering him.
So what's so funny is this is my life. Like, he's a fan. One of the things I talk about on stage is I've been in your guys' living rooms, right? And so, you're looking at me and I'm meeting you for the first time. And
right.
yet
I'm
you know me
out.
Or you think you know me. But what's so crazy about my life is like, I have to rely on a publicist to reach out to you guys. So they're like, yeah, no one's responding. And I'm like, but I'm from Chicago. No one wants me. You know what I mean? But the reality is he may send an email, but it goes to spam. And then I reach out to this dude. He's like, you want to come on the show? I'm like, I thought no one wanted me. You know what I mean? So like reality is a very interesting place. No. Do you know what I mean?
True. Because you're relying on
weird.
No, because that's not true. Lots of people around here want you.
Oh, of course. Yeah. But I just don't think I think the emails go to spam. Because when I show up, they're like, hey man, we love you. But it's like getting to them.
Or the lists are wrong because we're probably not on your publicist list. You know what I mean? Because we're a sports show. I don't know.
We got to get bigger.
I think I think you guys. I think the reality is like communication is everything.
Yeah.
I think when you break through the gatekeepers and you get to the people, life changes. That's what I'm seeing in my life.
Jerermy Piven here on
Thank you
CHGO
guys.
Bears.
Go Bears.
Go Bears.
Let's go Bears.
Anytime you want
I'll
to
see
come
you guys
on,
at the Vic. We're gonna hug it out.
Yeah, and anytime you want to come on and vent about the Bears.
Oh, you'll never
this is
see
your
me
home.
again. This is it. One and done.
All right, he's gonna follow you out and into the alley. And
On the way here, he was like, "Where are you staying?" I'm like, "Bro, you want my Netflix?
Too much information.
You want my Netflix password? Take it easy.
Don't tell him.
Give me some space."
All right, well, we'll let him walk you off here. We still need to close out the rest of the show. We got super chats to get to as well. As we close things out here on CHGO Bears, I could tell everybody enjoyed that interview.
Greg.
Please hit that like button. Do it for Jerermy Piven and go check out the show.
Thank you.
On Friday. Yeah, absolutely. All right. Now is where we get all these cool names that don't make any sense to us, but we love them. Garden Hoser, $5, says, I never got a weird Carm explanation on what I bring to the diehards.
Well, Garden Hoser, I was saving it for a special moment in time because you are special. And what you do bring on the day that Jerermy Piven visits the studio, Garden Hoser, you just you coming back in, Greg? No, you're good? Okay. Because you want to talk to Garden Hoser, too. Garden Hoser, look at the way you sit, Garden Hoser. It's a perspective. It's an overlording. It's a calmness. It's a way that people just realize that they can just sit there in the moment and be pensive, but yet appreciative. And so you're a guy that wants the truth. You speak the truth. You look for the truth. And that's what you do for the diehards because they're trying to do the same thing just like you, Garden Hoser. That's why you are my Garden Hoser.
There you go. Bear Down Nation, $5. Just became a diehard to use the 20% discount for Vegas versus Bears event. Excited to see everyone. Football needs to hurry up. Welcome in, Bear Down Nation. I'm not
Bear Down Nation, you better come and find us and have the greatest time ever. Otherwise, you're not doing it right. Can't wait to see you.
Blake from Galena.
That might be my golf partner because Blake bought it.
Oh, yeah?
But I'm not 100% certain. Or this could just be Blake from Galena.
Or some guy named Blake. He's the only Blake that exists. I don't know.
We love you, Blake.
Brendan Henderson, $10. Think of a play call as a pizza. You can order a supreme pizza and hope that the guy puts on the right toppings. Or you can specifically tell them, I want pepperoni, sausage, onion, etc. It's a great. Brendan, come do my job tomorrow. You just explained that way better than I did.
I love pizza.
Yeah, pizza sounds great. Christian Dakowski?
Can you speak right now?
No, that was cool. That was really cool. Yeah, it was awesome. That was my favorite guest we've ever had on.
I could tell.
Yeah.
Like Lance Briggs, you're nothing to Jerermy Piven. 55. I hope you saw that.
Like, this guy just did a show with Lance Briggs an hour ago.
Yeah. No, Lance
I mean, if
is
Caleb
cool.
came in here, you would not look at him the way you looked at Jerermy Piven. That was amazing.
Yeah, Lance is cool. No, I really do. I watch that show every year.
We got it.
It's great.
That's how I was when we had Bert Kreischer on, but that interview was 3 minutes, not 23 or whatever we just did. All right, we got to get things moving here. We got other shows.
No, we don't.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
Lots of things going on right now.
Just became a diehard from Christian, $10. Appreciate you. You guys are the best. Met Braggs at ACDC. Super cool guy. Shout out to you guys making my afternoons. Much love.
Well,
you're awesome, Christian.
You're going to do a diehard
No, we don't have time for all that.
Super K, Super Christian, just an absolute stud and an appreciator and somebody who likes to lift people up. With that, people like that, that's what we need. Thank you so much.
I love seeing as many diehards are signing up again. We got a flash sale going on right now. Take advantage of it. $3 a month. Jason Kruger, $5. How is the New Year's resolution going, Bragg? Still not buying into any Bears hype until the season starts?
Well, I think in the schedule release, I picked them to win 4 games.
No, you did 2 things. You cheated.
I did both. But yes, I'm keeping the hype down as best as I can.
Yeah. By the way, QR code right there on your screen to become a diehard if you want to do it nice and simple. If you're listening to the podcast, allchgo.com/diehard. Brendan Henderson, $5. Ben Johnson, when hired. Yay, we got a head coach that will develop Caleb. 10 minutes later, why are we developing Caleb? I believe he's mocking you, Carm.
Okay.
Orange Cassidy just became a diehard. Welcome aboard, Orange Cassidy. Brendan Henderson, $5. This is a perfect opportunity for Hoge to give a shout-out to Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary.
Always the best dispensary. There is no other dispensary, Sunnyside. We love you, Sunnyside.
Daniel Flores, $5. Currently watching while on my lunch for my shift at Erie Family Health Centers in Evanston. Jerermy is not wrong about Evanston. Much love, everyone.
Love Evanston.
And Gary Ross back in here, $10. Carm, are you sad that Bajan is going to be?
I paid $10 for this. I'm going to kill you, Gary.
Wow. Carm, are you sad that Bajan is going to be QB3? Ben brought back Bridgewater late last season as he wanted a vet instead of the young QB. He's doing it again now. First time Bears will keep 3 QBs.
Wow.
Ben is not going to make this mistake because Bajan is just that guy, Gary, and Ben knows it, and everybody knows it. And
Bajan's a veteran at heart.
He's an old soul. He's an old soul.
Yeah.
I'm not going to worry about it, even though I'm worrying about it way too often.
All right.
Fun show today.
Awesome show. Great job, Greg, landing Jerermy Piven.
And I didn't scare him. Maybe I did a little.
I think you did.
He ran out of here fast. I'm just kidding. I don't even know if he's still here or not. We got another show for you tomorrow. Matt Verderam will join us. He was at practice yesterday. We'll talk more Bears with him as Carm looks at Greg the way Greg was looking at Jerermy Piven.
It was adorable. I much love. That's phenomenal. I'm glad that happened. That made my day.
We did it.
Talk to you tomorrow. I got one more show this week. Noon Friday. We'll see you then.
Let's go.
We all silly like the mayor.